Okay, thank you, and welcome back to the FirstGem Annual Conference 4.0 powered by First Bank. My name is Bisola Ayola, and we've been here since 10 a.m. this morning talking about the art of negotiation. Shortly before we went on break, we had Professor Kandap Mehta talk about the art of negotiation. And in this second half, he's going to be talking about negotiation and women. We have so much more to come. Don't go anywhere because the chairman board of directors, First Bank of Nigeria Limited, Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika, is still going to give us a chairman's speech, and that we saved for last, the best for last. You've been tuned in. We're happy. You've connected your sisters, your friends. Everybody has been here. They've learned a thing or two. I have learned more than two things actually being here today, and I'm really, really glad that First Bank and First Gem thought of me to be the host for this. So thank you so much for this. I've learned so much even while doing my job. We still have the business pitch judges that are here to select the winners from the seed fund that they'll be winning today from First Bank. So please don't go anywhere. You never know. It could just be you. It could just be your friends. Anybody at all could win this or win something from this. And we also have other speakers. Madam Helen Ihore, that's going to talk about what your bank wants. If you remember, if you were tuned in earlier, you would have known that we talked about what your investors want. Now, we are going to talk about what your bank wants. But still on negotiation, Professor Kandap Mehta is still here. Don't forget that you can watch live on YouTube. If you were not privileged enough to register and be given a Zoom link, you can watch on YouTube. And you can also send in all your questions. Questions that weren't answered in the first half of Professor Mehta's session would be answered in this second one. So make sure that you tune in, send in your questions. Any questions that are not answered today, the answers will be provided on the First Gem portal. If you also want to be part of the First Gem community, all you have to do is go online, type in First Gem portal, and yes, you'll see everything that you need to be part of this community. So right now, I will be handing over again to Dr. Kandap Mehta for the second half of his lecture. And this one is negotiation and women. Welcome back, Dr. Mehta.
Thanks a lot, and well, let's very quickly move on to the negotiation and women section. We in the previous session we saw that when we negotiate, one of the biggest disadvantages that we have is that we do not have enough information, and often the information that we have is also presented in such a way that it doesn't allow us to take the decision in the right manner. And that's why it is important always to prepare before every negotiation. And before we negotiate, it is important to understand what are the expectations. And expectations are driven by needs, alternatives, some interest that we may have, the relationship, whether it is long-term or short-term, and whether we have enough information about the other side or not. Remember, the focus of every negotiation is not really to beat the other person, but to get the best possible result for ourselves. And that's why it is very important to always understand what is it that we are doing in the negotiation and what is it that the other side is trying to achieve in the negotiation. Now, let's talk about negotiation and women. For example, is it difficult to negotiate with women, or is it more difficult for women to negotiate? Do we see a huge difference in results between men and women? So what I'm going to do now in this, in this little talk is to present what research shows us. So whatever research has taught us, whatever research has shown us, I will share with you. And then, as I had said before, I would be more than happy to have your inputs, your perspectives, and your opinions. So let's try to understand the difference, the gender difference in negotiation. Here is an interesting statistics. People who negotiate their first salary, they generally increase their salary by an average of $5,000. Now, this is true for management students, so those who finish an MBA and get an offer, if they negotiate on an average, not everyone gets an increase, but people get an increase of about 5,000 US dollars. So, if this 5,000 US dollars is, you know, if you see it over a period of the entire career of the person, it is almost $500,000. Now, why am I sharing this with you when actually the focus is negotiation and women? Because we have observed at our school, and in fact in last few years we have been there has been this attempt at different business schools to see when our MBA students receive their offers, what do they do? And especially in the United States, it was really glaring, the difference that out of 10 men, graduating men, about 8 would try to negotiate their first salary, while out of 10 women, only 2 would try to negotiate their first salary. The difference was not in the type of jobs they were receiving or whether one was more intelligent than the other group, but men would try to negotiate their first salary offers, and women would not try to negotiate. And this, where is it resulted? Where is it reflected? This difference? Well, over a period of 25-year career, it will become $500,000 difference. That's why research has shown, as you can see here, these are very recent numbers. By looking at the salaries increase from 1960 to 2015, if this is the way in which men and women's salaries, they keep on growing. In 1960s, women were earning only 60% of what men were earning. Today, that difference has been reduced to 80, in some cases to 90%. But still, there is a difference. And if this projection continues, the projected pay equity will be reached in 2059. But if we only look at a recent salary increase from last 15 years, we can see that salary gap will be bridged in 2152. So the question is this: is there a solution to this? Because in negotiation, what we have consistently seen is that there is no difference between negotiation skill between men and women. Some men are very good at negotiation, some men are not. Some women are very good at negotiations and some women are not. But still, there is one consistent theme that we see in research. Women are offered less. And 2, women also ask for less. Why this happens? Is there a solution to this? For example, somebody was talking about power. How can this negotiation gap be bridged? How can women do this? I will give you an example of salary negotiation because that's where it supposedly begins. So let's talk about the salary negotiation and see what can we learn from what research has shown us. Sorry. Women can bridge this negotiation gap by actually negotiating better salaries. How can women negotiate better salaries? By not negotiating salary. What do I mean? In any salary negotiation, it has been seen that when we focus on a single variable, on a single issue, negotiations become competitive. Competitive negotiation basically are win-lose negotiation. That means one side wants to win and the other wants to win as well, and they both want to make sure that they don't give up. Now, what is the problem with this? The problem is that you lose flexibility. For example, let's say you are trying to recruit me. I say I want a salary of 100,000. You said you cannot pay more than 90,000. I don't want to from give up my 100,000. You don't want to pay me anything more than 90,000. There is a tension. There is a conflict. And often it results in a more combative kind of a bargaining. And that's why in these situations, now there is a cultural element here. In many cultures, this is the perception of negotiation. And what is the disadvantage that you have when you perceive negotiation like a combat? That often, subconsciously, we accept negotiation to be a male skill. In many cultures, this is the stereotype that negotiation is this give and take, it is this kind of tug of war, and that's why it is more of a male skill. And that's why studies have shown that when a particular skill, for example, there is a very famous line of research which talks about stereotype effect. When a group is stereotyped, the group itself becomes the victim of the stereotype. It has been seen in difference in performance in mathematical exams or competitive exams of students of different races, and the same thing happens even in case of genders. When, for example, a math test, if it is being taken by boys and girls together, girls would underperform, while if only girls are taking the test, they would not underperform. That is the stereotype effect. And that's why when negotiation is seen as a male skill, it has this disadvantage. So, now I don't say this happens always, but often we become victims of such characterization of the negotiation process itself. That could be one of the reasons why women avoid negotiations in some cases as well. That's why it is important always to look for multiple issues when we negotiate. That's how our students who are graduating from MBA, our female students, they negotiate their salaries. They don't focus simply on salary, but they always try to look at the complete package and see how they can create maximum value. So the next question is, how can they negotiate a better job offer? By not negotiating. Now, if we are talking about negotiation and women, then why am I advising not negotiating? Because what I'm trying here is something called stereotype regeneration. What is stereotype regeneration? So many MBA graduates and executives, they carry this confrontational approach. I just talked about it. And when women perceive the task as a male skill, they might underperform. But in some studies, it has been seen that if positive female stereotypes are evoked, women not only perform better, they actually outperform men. What are the positive female stereotypes? What is it that women are very good at and men are not? Stereotypically, women are better at empathizing with the other person. Women are better at communicating. They are better at understanding emotions of the other person. So, for example, in several experiments where researchers tried to evoke these positive stereotypes, that means they told their participants that, look, negotiation is all about empathizing. Negotiation is all about establishing a cordial relationship with the other person. Negotiation is all about communicating very effectively with the other person. Negotiation is all about taking care of this relationship in long term. Results were very different. Women consistently outperformed men. This shows that actually it is not really negotiation, it is the perception of the negotiation that determines our result. And that's why often, for example, with our students, there are some students who say, should I really negotiate my job offer? That's the only job. What if they say no? And often I say, don't negotiate. Forget negotiation. Just go and talk to them. Have a conversation. Don't even mention the word negotiation to them or to yourself, but tell yourself that I'm going to have a conversation with someone who is likely to play an important role in my life. I'm going to have a conversation about my potential compensation with this organization where I would really like to work. So, framing negotiation, telling yourself before the negotiation that this is not a negotiation but this is a conversation, actually changes the scenario completely. Now, think of yourselves. I mean, FirstGem conferences are always attended by many bright women. All of you who are here right now, you have done some successful negotiations in your life. That's why you are here. You are right now attending this conference, either personally, physically, or virtually. Think of important negotiations that you might have avoided. Think of important negotiations or important moments where you could have negotiated and you did not. Later on, when this session is over, try to write down why you did not negotiate, why you did not think of negotiating. Because that would really give you an insight into the kind of negotiations that you could have done in past. And if it is the fear or if it is the stereotype of this tension and combat which probably has stopped you from negotiating in past, then next time tell yourself it's a conversation. It's not a negotiation. It's not a fight. It's not a combat. Okay, let me go to the next important element. Why women avoid negotiating? Anyway, here I have not done a good job with the animation, but look, this was a conversation that happened between a potential employer and a candidate. Now, what was interesting in this study was that some of the candidates were actually, they were confederates of the researcher. They were helping the researcher, and interviewers did not know that. So the question that interviewers were supposed to ask was this: that do you like performing in high pressure situation? Candidates were given the same script, so they were talking to different interviewers. The script was, I tend to thrive in pressure situations. For example, in high school, I was the editor of the school paper, and I had to prepare a weekly column under deadline all the time, and I always pull it off so well that sometimes I even surprised myself. My supervisors noticed also and were quite complimentary. Now, later on, interviewers were asked, how do you rate the candidate? Those interviewers who had a male candidate, you can see here, thought that the candidate was confident and competent. And those who had interviewed a female candidate thought that not likable enough and probably not fit for the job. This is kind of a social backlash or economic backlash that often women face when they negotiate. This is just one example, but there have been other studies where, for example, the same behavior, men and women were asked to assert a particular price. This is the final price. For example, saying something like that: this is the price, take it or leave it. When the same behavior comes from a man, it is a lot more acceptable than when it comes from a woman. It is considered a lot more aggressive when a woman claims value than a man claims value. What does this really mean? This really means that eventually this social backlash creates this collective learning that by asking we might get punished. It's like you may belong to an environment where there is no discrimination. In your family, your parents may never discriminate between you and your brothers, um, your friends, they don't discriminate between men and women. However, what we see in society in general also big forms part of our own learning, and that often affects the way in which we negotiate. So some psychologists, some negotiation scholars, they argue that it is this economic backlash and its impact on the collective memory of the society which actually makes women avoid negotiating. It creates this kind of collective learning.
So I just want to share an experience. So I had this board, this international board, I was headhunted to chair, and I do chair that board right now. And when I was having conversation on what the benefits would be with the outgoing chair of the board, with an American gentleman, and they made me an offer. I looked at it. I spoke to a friend of mine. She thought, well, for that industry and all of that, it's actually a great offer. And I said no. That because I know that once I get on the job, I'm going to work hard. I always have to do, and there's always more work than you expect at the end of the day. That so I'm not going to take it. She said, okay. So I called the guy and I said, look, thank you very much for the offer. It had share options. It had direct cash. And that, but I know the level of work that I will do, and from my experience, there's always much more that you don't anticipate. And I know that whatever I put my hands to do, I will do it well. So, what you have offered is great, but I can tell you without a doubt that I like to be paid what I deserve. But I would leave it to you to work that out. So it was a little concern. I said, look, let me put your mind at rest. I am going to take this job. I intend on doing this assignment for the simple reason that it falls into an area of interest for me, and I know that it will make a difference to my continent. So you can go to rest knowing whatever it is we agree at the end, I will take the job. So don't worry about that. So you just go back and make a decision on what is a fair wage for the job that I am sure that I will deliver on. And I left it at that. Now, it was a gamble, but you know what? I got 20% more. My friend couldn't believe it. She thought, she did what? I said, I didn't name any number. They went back to work it out. But I told them no matter what they came back with, I would do the job. So that removed the threat. But it allowed them the room to go and consider that I had an option and they had an expectation of performance based on my words. Just to share.
Thank you.
And in fact, to participants who are hearing, in this example of Chairman Ms. Ibukun, you also see the power of reciprocity, because it is seen in a lot of studies that often in a negotiation situation, people tend to reciprocate. So when there is a sense of commitment, when there is a commitment, you always see a kind of a reciprocation. And in fact, when you have commitment combined with great experience, competence, prestige, etc., the value in fact increases a lot more. I had this student who, he was in fact not my student, he was in the PhD program, but he was our student. And here the story is very interesting. He had received a job offer from a European university. He said yes, and then after some time he received an offer from an American university where he had applied long back and he had even forgotten. Now the American university was paying almost double the salary. So what would he do? Should he, because he had still not started working for the European university, what he did was he wrote to the European university. He said, look, academic world is a small world, everyone knows each other, so I don't want you to get this news from elsewhere, but I have been approached by this university and they have made me this offer, and this is the offer they are giving me, but I'm staying with you. So he is actually telling them that, look, I'm rejecting a salary which is almost double. And what did the European university do? Well, they said, thank you, we can never match that. If you still want to go, we would understand that. But since you have said that you are staying with us, we are actually raising your salary by 20%. So, often being honest, or for example, there is one question here, somebody has asked a very interesting question. Can we, ask questions? Yes, we can. In fact, whenever we are willing to share information, we should also be willing to ask questions. Asking questions is never going to harm us. Not asking what we are, curious about is something that is going to harm us. So anyway, but thanks a lot for that, very, very interesting insight and sharing that experience. Yes, go ahead, Bisola.
Very much, Prof. Another question here says, how do we create red tapes without necessarily being offensive in a negotiation process?
Red tapes without being offensive. So the thing is, um, in general, in any negotiation, we become offensive when we make it personal. So, offending someone uh, becomes an issue only when, the other person feels threatened, or feels that her or his honor is not respected. The best way to deal with making, or keeping this, this fear of offending somebody out, is by setting the process of negotiation beforehand. In fact, in very complex negotiations, so many of you probably do complex deal making. And when you do a complex negotiation, often people tend to get emotional, people tend to get offended. People also use, offensive language at times just to provoke the other side and get some advantage. The best way to deal with it is to set the process beforehand. It's like, don't just prepare for a result, prepare for a process, set the process, and share the process beforehand with the other side. It's like, this is how we are going to negotiate. This is how we negotiate. We share information for this much time. We will exchange information. We will ask these questions. We will get these questions. We will make certain offers. We will not make a single issue offer. Our offers will be about the package, and finally we will close after, these many consultations. So when you set the process, you do create, on one hand, enough red tapes, or you do create enough elements of measuring your own performance, but at the same time you are not offending the other side. So being proactive is the best way to deal with that.
Thank you very, very much, Professor Kandap Mehta. This has been an interesting, insightful session. These are the questions that we can take for now. I'm sure you'd still be available to answer some more that are on there in our Q&A section on Zoom. But thank you so much. I've learned so much about the art of negotiation and women. And I'm sure everyone who's logged in here to the FirstGem Annual Conference has been able to take more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things away today. So thank you very much, Professor Kandap. It was nice chatting with you today. Thank you. Can we give Professor a round of applause, please? Even you at home, please give him a round of applause. He'll receive it virtually. Thank you. Okay, moving on quickly. I know this is one segment everybody has been waiting for, especially those who sent in their videos weeks ago, because there was a call to action for people who were eligible for the seed fund. Now we have our judges in-house and one virtually who would be listening to different pitches from the different businesses that were shortlisted here today, and eventually we'll pick a winner, or the winners. There are going to be 3 winners: first prize, second prize, third prize. First prize, 500,000 naira. Second prize, 350,000 naira. And third prize, 150,000 naira. Okay, let me introduce our judges. First is Mrs. Adesua Oyenekwe. Mrs. Adeswa Oyenekwe is a broadcast journalist and publisher who has over 30 years experience in communications, 15 years as a reporter with Nigerian Television Authority, and she has been on shows like Seriously Speaking on Channels TV and TW Conversations on Africa Magic. She is a published editor-in-chief of Today's Woman magazine, a graduate of drama and masters in language arts, and she has won many professional awards, including Reporter of the Year. A round of applause for her, please. You're welcome. Our next judge is Mrs. Chizo Malize, HCIB MIOD. She is the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of Financial Institutions Training Center, FITC, and she has over 2 decades of professional experience that cuts across marketing, business process reengineering, market growth strategy, reputation management, and business consulting. She is also a prolific and respected international speaker, and she has developed and facilitated several training courses in reputable institutions such as Lagos Business School, Financial Institutions Training Center, FITC, and Brand Platform Academy. She is passionate about impact, enterprise, and family. A round of applause for her, please. And our third judge, who will be joining us virtually, Mr. Obi Asika, is focused on the possibilities that the creative and cultural industries offer for Nigeria. Mr. Obi Asika joined the Board of Trustees of the Nigerian Olympic Committee in December 2020, and he's a former vice chairman of Kwara United, a Nigeria Premier League football club, and he has been involved in football and sports for over 20 years. Mr. Obi Asika was appointed Senior Special Assistant to the President for Social Media and Digital Policy in 2015. And he has worked with and advised multilaterals, corporations, governments, brands, and agencies on the creative industries, sports, strategic communications, events, and more. A round of applause for Mr. Obi Asika, please. Thank you for joining us virtually as well. So we have 5 shortlisted participants from the hundreds that sent in videos using the hashtag FirstGem Annual Conference. And we've shortlisted them to 5 here today. Now, these 5 people will be joining us virtually. I hope that you're ready. I'll be calling you individually. I hope you're ready with your pitches. It's going to be left to the judges to give us the time. We wanted to give you just 1 minute to pitch, but our judges have been a little bit lenient to see, let's just give them some more time for composure and all of that. They know how nervous people can be when they're giving their pitches. So we'll be calling them in no particular order, and I hope that you're ready wherever you are to deliver your pitches, and congratulations, all the best. May the best man or woman win. Okay, first, in this order is Edu Cyclers. We have first Ruby's World Concept. We have Gary Alla Duque, GC Farms, and Loib Dressy. But the first person we'll be going with is Edu Cyclers. So Edu Cyclers, I hope you're ready to wow the judges, and hopefully, who knows, you might go home with something. So over to you, Edu Cyclers.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity, First Bank. My name is Stella Adebayo. I'm the founder of EduCyclass. EduCyclass is a waste management and recycling company focused on adding value to our customers through recyclables like PET bottles, can, pure water sachets in exchange for access to finance their children's education. Over 1 billion people struggle to properly dispose of their waste. This waste ends up in communities causing flooding, malaria, pollution, threat to human health globally, and death of over 1 million sea animals. And you will agree with me that with the advent of COVID-19, many parents lost their means of livelihood, leaving their children out of school due to lack of finance. In Lagos, over 20 million people generate 10,000 metric tons of waste daily. Of this waste, 20% are plastic and metals. According to the World Bank, plastic consumption is expected to grow from 9.6% to 1.9 million tons by 2025. We estimate the value of plastic and metal waste opportunity for Lagos at $700 million, leaving edu-cyclers with an opportunity of $630 million. Our solution, we provide access to finance education of children of low-income earners and other needs of our other customers who are individuals living in the poverty line and individuals who want extra source of income for themselves. Our business model, our customers bring the recyclables, we scale them with our digital scale, and then we resell to the recycling companies who bail and then sell to companies who use them to make products and clothing materials. Our customers and our partners are schools, NGOs, churches, mosques, recycling companies, local companies, educational institutions, and corporate organizations. Our competitive advantage is basically turning waste to an essential wealth and access to education for the underserved communities. Our traction in 2019, we piloted our business model at Nigerians School with 40% of the students paying their school fees from recyclables. So between 2019 and 2020, we generated 798,000 naira. Our team is made up of passionate, enthusiastic, and charismatic social entrepreneurs. I myself am a graduate of French and education from the University of Lagos. I started Not Robot School because I wanted to contribute my quota to the educational system in Nigeria. On starting the school in the low-income community, I discovered that parents could not pay their school fees. I did my research and I discovered that plastic could actually be used to pay their children's school fees. So we are asking for the grand prize of 500,000 naira to enable us to purchase a cargo bike, like you can see on my slide. The cargo bike will help us to pick up recyclables within and around communities. The major challenge with this business is the fact that it's transportation. So with this cargo bike, we'll be able to increase our turnover, we'll be able to reach more communities, and more people will be able to get on board this opportunity. We are projecting that we'll be able to, initially, within the 2 years that we did 4.2 tons, we did 15.2 tons. But we are projecting that with the 500,000 naira, we'll be able to do 40 tons in year 1, another 40 in year 2, another 40 in year 3, giving us 6 million naira in 3 years. In conclusion, your investment in us will help us get closer to achieving our vision. This is a vision of EduCyclers. Provide at least 1,000 children with access to education and educational materials in the next 5 years, which is according to SDG goal number 4. And of course, environmental impact is achieved by ensuring a cleaner and safer environment free from plastic diseases. And also be a profitable and globally recognized plastic waste recycling collection service provider. And of course, create jobs for at least 500 underprivileged youth and people living below poverty line. I strongly believe that you give us this opportunity. Thank you.
Well done, EduCyclers. I'm going to be handing over to our judges. Madam Adeswa, you first. Do you have any questions for them? Yes, for EduCyclers, before we move on to the next.
I just need to know from you. Congratulations, sounds like a good idea. But you make certain claims that I'd like you to clarify. You're going to take 500 women put them in work. And 1,000 students will be impacted. So can you tell me how that's going to be possible? And over what period are you going to be able to do that?
500 women, our projection is the 5 years goal plan that we have. We are going to start with the 500,000 naira. When we started EduCyclers, we didn't have any means of transportation. Basically, the parents and the individuals, they bring the recyclables to the school premises. We have an open space in the school premises. So they bring it, and some of them, they want to take advantage of the opportunity, but because of the fact that the distance and the cost of transporting those recyclables down here is not going to be profitable for them. So at the moment, once we get the grant, we'll start with at least 50 women. At the moment, we have about 25 women who are profiting from this opportunity, who are using recycling to sponsor their children's education. Some are paying, some are using it to purchase uniform, some are using it to purchase textbooks, stationery, and all the rest of educational materials. And then the youth, with the cargo bike, we're able to employ one person. So we'll be able to employ one person who is going to be the driver of the cargo bike, who will be picking up. Of course, the pickup is going to be, you have a required, there'll be a minimum number of pickup that will be done. So we tell our customers you must have this particular ton of a kg of recycling before we can come to your house or your wherever you want us to come and pick the recyclable. So the person who is going to be driving, another person who is going to be using this, assisting the driver. So basically that's two. And of course, in our recycling center, we're also going to employ more women who are going to be, some will be sorting like this. They buy this is the cover of the pet bottle. So they are going to be separating and sorting them. So that's basically where the 500, at the moment, we can only be able to, the 500 we can be able to do 50 women. Because even without, when we leave our house, we had about 25 women who were paying their children's school fees from recycling. So we are going to be having more of them, of course. So that was the beginning for the projection map.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'll be handing over to Madam Chizo for feedback as well, or questions for EduCyclers.
Thank you very much, EduCycle. Great insight, great presentation with regards to this idea and uniqueness. But I would ask you, what is your understanding of the full value chain for recycling? And where do you see yourself in future across that value chain?
We started as an aggregate due to the fact that we wanted to solve the problem of payment of school fees. So at the moment, we are still the middleman, but the full value chain, like the recycling company is huge. So at the moment, we are more like an aggregator, but the plan is as we get access to funding, we'll establish our own recycling plant where we'll be able to not just be the collector, but we'll be able to bail, we'll be able to crush, and we'll be able to sell to the final, instead of us just being the middleman and selling to recycling companies who eventually sell to the other companies who are going to be using the recycling.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Any questions, Mr. Obi?
Presentation. I'm not even too sure I have too many questions. Hello to everybody on the panel. This is my coach. I'm just thinking, obviously this is like a social impact business. I'm just wondering, in your next 3 years, how many people are you trying to impact?
In the next 3 years, based on our plan, on our business plan, we plan to impact, in the next 5 years, we plan to impact 1,000. So in the next 3 years, it should be around 600, 700 children, and of course, we plan to impact 500 women and other individuals, youth. So from the 500, if I'm going to look at it with the 3 years projection, it should be around 300 thereabouts.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions from our judges? Okay, thank you very much, EduCyclers. We'll be moving on to the second participant. First Ruby's World Concept. First Ruby's World Concept. How are you today?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adenike Habibambo, Creative Director of Ruby's World Concept, a registered knitwear brand located in Lagos. We are into design of top-notch knitwear such as mufflers, beanies, crochet dresses, kimono jackets, and other crochet accessories. We also offer trainings online, both offline and online. And we've been able to train 100 people. 95% offline, 5% online. We've been able to train women that fend for their families from the profit they get from their knitting business. Also, we've been able to train undergraduates that fend for their education in the different tertiary institutions from what they're able to make from their knitting business. This is our goal. Our goal is to reduce the levels of unemployment in the country through our trainings and empowerment program, and also to reduce the rate in which knitwear are being imported by creating top-notch designs that meet up with international standards and quality. Here are some of our creations. This is a beanie for adults. This is another design. These are mufflers. Some of the mufflers created that we produce for school. We also have interior decorative items like a throw pillow. Here is a crochet skirt. and where I'm wearing the country of. Who are our customers? Our customers are schools, political parties, organizations, and models. Talking about our short-term goals, in the next 6 months, our top priority is to have a sophisticated knitting machine that can handle the bulk of our job. This will increase our efficiency and productivity of our work. And in the next 2 years, we see ourselves having a standard knitting school whereby people come into that range. They learn the art of knitting and crocheting. With this grant, we will be able to purchase more sophisticated machines that will increase our efficiency and productivity, which in turn increase the standards of our knitting school. What are those things that make our brand different? We explore every aspect of knitting, from crocheting to hand knitting to loom knitting to machine knitting, and we expose our students to all these aspects in such a way that any job that comes in, they will be able to handle it, they won't be limited. And also we give our students mentorship. After the program, after the training, they can call us back for mentoring sessions. These are the things that make us different from our counterparts. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. First, Ruby's World Concept. I'll be handing over to our judges now for their questions and feedback. Don't go anywhere, First Ruby's World. Thank you. Mr. Obi?
Not for your presentation. I'm just trying to understand your school. How many people are you trying to train in your knitting school? And how many people are you finding that there are a lot of people who are actually looking for this kind of training?
Yeah, a lot of people are looking for this kind of training. A lot of people are looking into the idea of crocheting now. I mean, for like even during the lockdown, a lot of people are coming into the business. People are really appreciating crochet wears now more than before. Presently, we have like 6 people we are training, and we work from home for now, from the corner of my sitting room. That's what we use for the training. So we're looking at a situation in which, when we expand, we'll be able to handle more people, like 20 people at a go. 20 people at a go.
Thank you, Mr. Obi. Madam Olize, please. Yes, please.
Okay. First, Ruby design, well done. Where does scale come in for you? How do you plan to scale this to become much more profitable? And how do you plan to sustain that?
Okay, we have so many products. Like we have our knit wears. We are into sales of materials like crocheting tools and yarn machines. Then our training. So our plan is we explore that. We do online training. Then we have a plan to have an app and a website in which people can buy and purchase things through our app. Presently, we services school. We give services to schools, to organizations. So if we put all this together, we are being positive that we'll be able to scale, because even presently what we are handling is even beyond us. That's why we are soliciting for help, for grants.
Okay, we're going off to Madam Adesua, please.
Hello. It's on. Okay. Hello. Okay, this is still on. That's right. Well done. For anybody to come out and make a pitch, it's not easy, especially with the connectivity. That would have thrown you off balance a little, I can see. However, congratulations for doing this. But what I didn't hear you say is, what are you looking for? What do you want to use the grant for? How is it going to make your business different? How are you going to apply whatever it is you get to make your business different?
Let me explain. Presently, the kind of machines that we use, they are manual in nature. They are not electric. They are not electrical. Neither are they electronic. So we can only produce like a sweater for a school. The school asks you to produce 50 pieces of sweater or 100 pieces of sweater. We can only do one as we want as a goal. So we are looking forward to getting a more sophisticated machine, an electronic one that can operate itself. With that, to be able to handle bulk job. This will increase our efficiency and of course increase our productivity. So if presently we are taking us 3 weeks to produce 100 sweaters, with that machine it will be taking us 1 week to produce the same quantity of sweaters. So we are soliciting for help to get a machine that can handle a bulk job.
How much is the machine?
The machine presently is 850,000. That one can only do like 4 or 5 in a day. So it's 850,000 naira.
So you already have some money that you're looking for money to add to your money to get the machine. Because if you get 500,000, you still need 350. If you get 150, you still need 650. So,
yes. At least the business has savings. We have it savings on around, so we can set up from there.
All right, thank you very much, First Ruby's World Concept. Thank you. Hopefully we'll hear from the judges later. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. Up next is Gary Alla Duque. Gary Alla Duque, I hope you're ready for your pitch. The judges are waiting. The rest of us on the FirstGem conference, virtually and in-house, we're waiting as well. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Good day, everyone. My name is Oyebanji Precious, and I am founder of Gary Alla Duque. Yes, of course, I love Gary. I love Gary so much. But one of the discouragements that I have personally from taking Gary is also the fact that, okay, I remember there was a day I was taking Gary and then I had to food like that day and I almost gave up on taking Gary, even the fact that I love Gary so much. So what do? I pour my Gary on the plate and then I check to be sure it's neat before I drink it. But then I also discovered that even after doing this, sand is one debris that you can never ever like separate from Gary, because we make to believe this due to the local means of producing Gary in West Africa. You know, it's really it's more on local means than mechanical means. So at Gary Alla Duque, what we do is we produce Gary through the use of machines, and this ensures that the Gary is no hand touched. That is, from start to finish, no hand touches your Gary. We have the peeler, we have the fryer, we have the machine that sorts, and this ensures that at the end of production, our Gary is pure and there's no debris in the Gary. Our plan is to ensure that in the next 5 years, there is no Gary in the market that has sand, because we plan on partnering with NCAM. NCAM ensures that you can bring your cassava to them and then they help you produce it. That is, even if you can't afford all the machines, which is what we do at the moment. So in the next 5 years, by the time we have enough money to venture into this business, we'll ensure that there is no Gary that is that has sand and people can actually eat and then not be so conscious of not breaking their teeth or not getting infected, because from statistics that it proves that about 84% of Gary that is produced in West Africa is actually unhygienic. And even with the fact that this Gary are unhygienic, the demand for it never ceases. As of last year, the total demand for Gary was about 12 million tons, and the total available Gary that was produced in West Africa the last year was 7.7 tons, which still shows that the demand for Gary is on the rise every day. And then from statistics of the health department, you can see that about 37.2% of people that complain of stomach upsets are people who actually take Gary, and about 21.3% are actually people who or people who complain about diarrhea are actually people who take Gary a lot. So Gary is obviously a staple food that we cannot do without in West Africa because a lot of people drink it, use it forever, and even export it. So if we're able to get these grants we'll be able to get more machines to ensure that our production is faster and then we have people eating healthy. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Alla Duque. That was nice. I'll be handing over to our judges. Madam Chisel, over to you for their feedback and questions.
Thank you very much, and thanks for bringing food to the world. Okay, what do you want to do with competition? So, and your competition is very vast and diverse. So many have done the exported version, so many are doing the ones that are on stores and on shelves already. Coming from where you are, what do you want to do to rise to the top?
All right, ma. Even I know I shared my experience about how I ate my food in Gary. So what I did after that was that I ensured that anytime I wanted to take Gary, I actually go for packaged Gary. But from what I also discovered that a lot of people they sell packaging. They still go to the market and still buy the locally made Gary and just package and sell at higher prices. That is what you find in most of the packaged Gary. But like I said, our goal is to ensure that even by 5 years' time, even the ones you are buying at the market, they are mechanized because, like I said, we're partnering with NCAM, which allows us to bring cassava, even if you don't have a machine, to bring cassava to them, they process it for you and return it to you. So you don't have to go through the stress of drying your cassava beside the road, probably squeezing with your hands and everything.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Adeswa, please.
Well, I seem to always be the one trying to understand how the money you're going to get is going to make a difference. Because you're talking about getting Gary that won't give us stomach upsets and making sure that Gary is clean. Two things you have to do for me. Those statistics you pulled out, I find it very interesting. I wonder if you can back them up, that most of the illnesses that are caused in our zone, our area, 37% of them is from drinking Gary. That's important if it's true. And so you need to be able to prove that most of stomach upsets, and also the money you get, how is it going to ensure that the Gary that we are getting is sand-free? You know what I mean? Connect the two.
Thank you very much, ma'am. According to WHO's analysis, it has been shown that about 1 in 10 people go ill, and when you check what this illness is, it's really the stomach, and most times it's caused from food poisoning. And it's a research that was carried out in Nigeria, basically a Nigerian student, sometimes last year, also showed that I don't know. Can I share the documents?
Yes, please.
It also showed that 37.2% of people who actually take Gary end up with stomach upset if it is traced.
Thank you very much. Mr. Obi, please.
Yeah, Gary, nice idea. There's a couple of issues I have because I think what you're talking about conceptually is strong, but I'm not clear about how you intend to differentiate your product and market it separately. Because if your product is the healthy Gary or whatever, right, you have to be able to communicate that to the consumer to make them be able to come to your product vis-a-vis the bad Gary, so to speak. So I think for me that was an issue. I didn't hear anything about that at all. I like the fact that it's something indigenous and something to do with local food, because I think that's a huge industry, and I think you're right about consumption. But I think you need to think about something that my co-judge Adeswa was saying. You know, where's the money? How are you applying this money if you're giving this money, and what is it going to do for your business?
Thank you very much, sir. Like I said earlier, if I'm getting this money now, I'll be able to buy a personal sprayer. Because as it is, we actually go to NCAM to process our cassava. NCAM has all the machines, and they ensure that we process it with them, we pay it okay, and they give it the final result. So from what we want now, if we get this money, we're going to buy a fryer. So a fryer has the ability to actually produce 4 tons of, to process 4 tons of cassava in a day to give you 1 ton of gari. So if we have that personally, we don't have to queue up at NCAM to ensure that it's our turn to produce. You make production faster and then ensure that we are able to flow, we are able to keep the flow of our gari in the market steadily. And by this, people will be able to pick it fast.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, judges. Thank you very much, Alla Duque. I wish you all the best. We still have 2 more pitches to go, and we're moving on to the 4th one, which is GC Farms. GC Farms. Are you ready for us? All right, GC is coming after, is not ready yet, so we'll move on to Loib Dressy. Loib Dressy. Loib Dressy, how are you today? Okay, sadly we're not going to be able to get GC Farms or Loib Dressy. The internet is not working in their favor today, and we have to move on. We've had people that have been logged in all day. Thank you very much for being with us from start till now. Thank you for staying hydrated. Thank you for taking down notes. Thank you for enjoying this webinar. But we're going to have to judge on the 3 people who have, the 3 companies that have pitched today: EduCyclers, First Ruby's World Concept, and Alla Duque. Okay, our judges are ready for us, so I'll be handing over to them, and they're going to pick our winners from EduCyclers, First Ruby's Concept World, and Alla Duque. So I'm handing over to our judges. Thank you very much.
Yes, I think for the effort, maybe we should send those ones 50-50K to buy better data. But it was quite interesting, and between the 3 of us, we've come to some kind of conclusion.
A round of applause.
A round of applause for
FirstGem, please. 100,000 naira each for Loib Dressy and GC Farms.
Fantastic.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Fantastic for the effort.
Thank you very, very much.
That should make everybody go and set up their own FirstGem account. You know. Anyway, so after listening to them, we scored them over in 4 areas. And the areas that we're looking at were presentation, originality, feasibility, and the viability. And the questions brought out all of those things. So at the end of it all, the 3rd place goes to, what's the company now? Let's see. First Ruby's World. First Ruby's World is 3rd.
Round of applause, First Ruby's World.
So as usual, when we announce the 2nd, we know who the winner is, right?
Yes, we do.
So I'll give Chizo that opportunity to do it. So Okay, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So from rating and based on the average.
Yes, go ahead. 150. Okay.
Okay, so the 3rd prize for First Ruby's World is 150,000 naira. A round of applause for First Ruby's World. Congratulations.
Okay. And so based on our averaging, the 2nd is our Alla Duque.
Congratulations, Alla Duque.
And that's 350,000
naira.
Yes.
Congratulations, Alla Duque. And we know who the winner is now.
We know who the winner is, but I think it's important to also declare her name and share the reason why it's her. And that first is EduCyclers. If she is there, please take a bow. And
take a bow, EduCyclers.
Right.
Congratulations.
She had her homework done. So if she is coming on video, it would be nice. But while we're at that, one of the... okay, so it's very obvious that she's passionate about what she's doing. She understands the science of it. She's read extensively about it. She understands the value chain. She knows where she is today, and she knows where she's going tomorrow. But more importantly is the fact that the seed money she's going to win, you already know where it's going. Yeah. And she could tell that, and she could demonstrate that, and you can see the impact. So I think that she stands out clearly and deserves to win, and we congratulate her for that.
Congratulations, Edu Cyclers. Congrats, congrats, congrats. Thank you very much to our judges, Madam Adeswa, Madam Chizo, and Mr. Obi. Thank you so much for being part of this, and thank you for picking our winners today. To the participants, Edu Cyclers, First Ruby's World, Alla Duque, congrats again. So for those of you who maybe had gone out to ease yourselves and just quickly came back in third place was First Ruby's World, and she won 150,000 naira. Second place, Alla Duque, and she won 350,000 naira. And first place is Edu Cyclers, winning 500,000 naira. We have Edu Cyclers here. Edu Cyclers, anything you have to say to FirstGem family?
Everyone supporting the cyclists. The cyclists is doing well, and we are going to continue.
Round of applause. Congrats, congrats, congrats. Any words from the other winners? Second, third?
We just thought we should point out that the Gary lady shouldn't feel disappointed, or the Rubies lady, because they do stand a chance. Just need to do a little bit more homework, and there's a lot of opportunity out there. So they could try again next year for FirstGem. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? Alla Duque, First Ruby's World, just a little bit more effort in anything you're doing, even your presentation. You never know. It could be better next year. You just might win next year. And who knows? FirstGem might even increase the money next year. You never know. But for GC Farms and Loib Dressy, you're going to go home with 100,000 naira each. We understand that internet at your end was bad, and that's why you weren't able to connect with us here. But the FirstGem family has decided to gift each of you 100,000 naira. Can we give FirstGem by First Bank a big round of applause, please? I also have a pitch, and my internet is bad. Will I get my 100K? All right, thank you so much to our judges, Mr. Obi, Madam Chizo, Madam Adeswa. Thank you so much for being part of this. We still have so much more to come. Our chairman's speech, our chairman's address is still coming up, and we still have entertainment by Chike as well. But earlier in the day, we talked about what investors want. What investors want. We got to learn everything that investors want when you're pitching to them. And now we're going to hear a bit about what the bank wants. So our chairman's address. Okay, we're moving straight up to our chairman's address. And this address is going to be given to us by the chairman board of directors, First Bank of Nigeria Limited, Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika. Please, I don't want the applause to stop until she comes up. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being with us since morning. It's not easy to take so many hours from people, but you understand that it's a gift to yourself, really, because what we have done is first to give much more than the hours to you in putting together what is a world-class event with world-class speakers who are, Professor Videla was my professor of global economics when I was in business school. And it's a world sought-after global economics professor who consults for Fortune 500 companies and all of that. And when I asked him, and he said, no problem. He'll be glad to do it. I knew that, okay, we're in for something good. Sometimes, we have to learn what we're not used to learning. Because, as I read through the comments that people were coming forth with, I realized that, we like easy diets, and we like what we like. We don't like things sometimes that challenge us beyond what we're used to. But life isn't always a bed of roses. And if you want to stand out, you need to pay the price and challenge yourself beyond what is your regular line of expressing yourself. And especially for women, when it comes to building our business forward, in a highly competitive world that is not merciful to you simply because you're a woman, As a matter of fact, you have some disadvantages to deal with. It's important that you create advantages for yourself. And part of that advantage is in your educating yourself so that you're able to complete. And the way the world is structured, businesses right now, it doesn't matter how little your business is and what product you're dealing with. There's a global reference point that affects what you do in the corner of your room. Because every action somewhere has a ripple effect that will eventually land at your doorstep. And your ability to survive situations like that, I think COVID is a perfect example for showing us how the world works. It started in one place that most people didn't know the name, Wuhan, China, before COVID came. And from there, the interconnectivity of the world took the virus across the world, even to the farthest end, corners that people thought, oh no, it's never going to get here. At the end of the day, it shows us how, and people were the carriers. COVID didn't travel by itself. It has no means of traveling. It only traveled through human motion. And that's exactly what global business is. No matter how little your business is, there is connectivity across the whole world that will affect it. So it's important that you pay attention to what is going on around the world. Pay attention to political issues, because political matters from around the world and in your local environment impacts the economics of your nation and impacts your business. If you don't know the direction of government's policy, you cannot know if you are working against direction of government policy or not. And that would leave you in the dark, such that you're not proactive. You cannot take actions to forestall the situation in advance of it. We as women tend to be behind the curve. It's not all women, but generally, women are more behind the curve. Most times, when other people have already taken value and are getting ready to exit, is when we just notice that that area is a viable area. By that time, the ship has sailed a long time ago. You are buying what people are exiting from. Therefore, you end up with the problem. It's how the stock market works. Some people are buying at the time that is at its highest price. It's time to sell. It's not the time to buy. The people that bought have already bought. They are taking profit, and you are buying the liability of the profit that they are taking. So in terms of our business, we want to force you to be a lot more engaged. Information is power. Knowledge is key. Your ability to understand what that information represents and to bring it home into how it impacts your business is key. And that's why we started with Professor Videla, to give us a global view of the interconnectivity of world economics and how, at the end of the day, it comes back. And then we had the gentleman from Augusto, who very beautifully tied it all together and brought it home. Oil is a global product, but its impact on the Nigerian market player business to the least business is important. But if you don't understand how the market is playing, or how what is going on in one country or the other will impact the oil market, then you clearly have no understanding of how Nigeria is going to respond and what parts of our economy it will impact and how it will impact your business. You have no idea of looking ahead and determining that the central bank is likely to respond this way because of this emerging trend that will come home to roost at your business. And it's key that you have an understanding of that. So you do need to read the papers in some ways. You do need to listen to there's certain ministers you must not listen to everything they say. You have no business being in business and not listening to what the Minister of Finance in the country is saying at any point in time. Even if she makes a 5-minute statement, listen, because there's something in it that would affect your business one way or the other, immediately or soon enough. When the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria is speaking, you listen. Why? Because every word he says and every action he takes is coming to your home to roost. It will affect your food price. It will affect your rent price. It will affect the cost of your children's education. It will affect your cost of financing. And there are multiple, you have to listen. The key officers of government, you must know what they're saying. In addition to that, of course, you listen to your president because he sets the pace for what everybody else responds to, and representatives of government that are decision makers. If you live in a particular state, you must listen to the governor because he sets the policy agenda that will drive the local impact on your business. So what is my challenge to you? My challenge to you is, I challenge you to throw ignorance out of the door. I challenge you to seek to be empowered with education. I challenge you to seek to be empowered with information. I challenge you to seek to be open-minded enough to learn from a child. I challenge you to seek to engage with technology, because it is not about what you think. It is about what will happen. I don't like technology. That's your problem. Because technology is going to happen or is happening, and it will affect your life whether you like it or not. So it is your reality, and you must rise up and take up the challenge to work out how you will engage with technology. You must go and learn what you do not know. Be a child. You know, there's nothing I love more than remaining a child at heart all of the time. Why? Because it means you're teachable. It means that you're open to learning from everyone and anyone. I remember when I went to IESE, you had 2 IESE professors today, and IESE is the top business school in the world. They're number 1 in Europe for executive education, and they're in top 10 business schools in the world. When I went to IESE, I didn't know, I wasn't very computer literate. I had a little idea, but I wasn't, because in my office, I had people that did all of those things for me. And this is what, I went to IESE like 20 years ago. And for the program I was going for, Global Executive MBA, you got a laptop as part of the program. They had all this very sophisticated software that was already loaded in. And even though you're in school for weeks, when you go home for a number of weeks as well, you're working online. My class was scattered around the world. So when we leave school and we go away, we're all, I think there was 9 hours between one person and the other in my team, in my class. So we had to learn how to connect. So technology was key to the program. I should have been intimidated not to sign up for the course. But I knew I needed the knowledge. And that was not going to scare me away. So part of my interview process, I had to take a GMAT. And to most people, I seemed like I was already very successful. And they didn't understand why I was bothering myself to go to have such a formal education. But you must know what you know. And you must know what you don't know. And you must know what you need. It doesn't matter what other people think. It's your call, because it's your life and your future. And you must understand the long-term value of knowledge and information. So I told them that, look, I'm not very computer strong, but I'm ready to learn. So they made an arrangement for me to come to school a week ahead of my entire class. And guess who was my teacher? There was a young 18-year-old boy, 18-year-old Canadian boy, who had already built 2 tech companies and sold them. Yes. And he had just graduated from high school and was waiting to go into uni. But he really just wanted to continue to build businesses rather than going to uni. So his parents decided that, you know what? I think they had relationships with the IESE, and asked them, can they please let him intern with them for a year so he can sort himself out as to what he would really like to do next. So He was an intern at the university assigned to tech support for my program. And they now decided that this boy was going to be my teacher. I should have been embarrassed and ashamed. But me, I have no shame for what I do not know. The bottom line is, the boy knew what I did not know. And what he knew, I needed to know. And therefore, I will resume in school every morning and sit in one classroom with this young man, very skinny, janjala little guy like this, and carefully submit myself to my teacher as he taught me everything I needed to know in order to be able to work this sophisticated long-distance learning program. It was one of the earliest models of long distance, because it was just EAC and Duque University that had those platforms then, you know. But I learned. And because I learned from him, the next 18 months of my program was made possible. And I learned more by learning from my classmates who were very tech savvy, and I continued to be teachable. And that totally improved my life, improved my opportunity to learn, and continues to serve me today. There was a time I used to pay my son to send my SMS until he went out of business because I went to learn it myself. I decided, what exactly am I doing? That just teach me what I need to know. I put him out of business and I started doing it myself. So we cannot be afraid to confront the things we do not know. So I challenge you to be liberated, to learn the things you do not know but that you need. I challenge you to rise up to the challenges of this generation and this season. I challenge you to seek to understand the entirety of the value chain of your business. I challenge you to seek to understand the trends within your market. And in understanding the trends within your market, to seek to understand where you fit in and to define your own portion of that value chain so you can be a master of it and you can rule in your own space. I challenge you to understand the market of today is open to you, no matter where it is, which is part of what Jimmy was telling you about engaging Nigerians in the diaspora. And I can tell you from experience, either from our diaspora banking or from some of my projects like Live Series, Nigerians in the diaspora are in every single country in this world. I promise you. Sometimes we're amazed at where people have connected from. This event today, I was tracking everything, and I realized that if you track the people that are connected, they're connected from multiple countries across the world, apart from those who are scattered across Nigeria, around Africa, and around countries in other places. So technology has closed the gap. It's one world now, whether we like it or not. I know that there's a tendency towards people trying to move away from globalization because of sense of national protections post-COVID. But ultimately, it's an impossible task because the train left the shore, it left the station a long time ago. No matter how much we try, we are going to need ourselves and we're going to need to work together. Now, how do you make that an asset for your own business? You need to understand how the product you sell, how it's useful to both your local market and to a global market. And when we say global market, we don't mean everybody in the globe. We mean every person in the globe who needs what you sell, wherever they are. Even if it's just the Nigerians or the Igbo people in the diaspora or Yoruba people in the diaspora or Shekiri people in the diaspora, as long as there's one person who can relate to your product, the key is how do you use technology to be able to reach them, no matter where they are. So you're not just selling to Shekiri people in Nigeria, even though there are Shekiri people seated in other parts of the world who need what you sell. It's a different marketplace, and it's a different world, and we must find how to engage with it. I would like to close with negotiations. The reason we chose the art of negotiation as the core of this conference is because we realize As Professor Mehta showed you with statistics, women are greatly disadvantaged. They're not less smarter than their male counterparts. They're not less able than their male counterparts. They're not less competent than their male counterpart. They have incredible ability to compete and to deliver value. However, the system is structurally disadvantaged towards them. Now, the bottom line is, as a person, once you understand the context under which you operate, it is important that you then set up a system to counter that context so that it works for you. There are systemic challenges to women being able to achieve their goals, but it is not an impossible goal. So, what is the challenge for every woman? Where negotiation is concerned, he has shown you scientifically where the disadvantages are. The question is, what will you do with it? How will you take on those issues? How will you spend time thereafter to reflect on the things that were shared and work out your personal strategy that works for you in terms of you negotiating in the different spaces that you occupy? You have to do more than what you've listened to today. You have to spend time aside, meditate on it. I remember when we took this negotiation class at school. Professor Mehta was not my professor. There was an elderly professor who took my class negotiation so many years back. We all left with a little card that we were given. They only had 4 points on it. And as far as that guy was concerned, all you need to remember is subject your entire learning to those, your entire approach to those 4 points, and go and work how that works for you. So I want to challenge you to go back and think of everything that you have heard today, and think of your personality, your person, how you think, how you respond to situation, and think of your likely situations, and strategically map out how you will respond when you find yourself in a negotiation situation. You know, the people that will benefit from today will be the ones who spend the extra time to work it into their own situation, internalize it, personalize it, and practice it. Negotiate with your friends as a practice session. Negotiate with your colleagues. Learn the skills. Do the interview before the interview. Learn how to respond to the situation, and play different scenarios, so that when scenarios don't work as you plan, you have alternative scenarios with which you respond to the situation. You have to do the work. There are no free lunches. What we need to do to make a difference, we need to do our work in order to make it happen. And what First Bank has done today is to be a facilitator of empowering you with tools and knowledge that improves your ability to do what you need to do. FirstGem is the vehicle. First Bank is the facilitator institution. But our goal ultimately is that as an institution and a firm believer in women, that both our women in the institution, our women who are customers, and women in the larger society, because we did not limit this program to just our customers or to just our own women. It was open to every woman, because when every woman wins, we win. And that's our commitment. Check everything we do with FirstGem. Reward us by participating in what we do. We didn't ask you for a prize. I've read all sorts of comments. I can't believe this is free. It is. Because for 127 years as an institution, we have been committed to adding value to nation building and to the world. And as a bank that operates in multiple climes, it's in our interest to continue to build equity and value for the people that we do business with. Thank you very much for being part of today. And I challenge you to take up all the challenges that have been thrown towards you today. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much to our Chairman, Board of Directors, First Bank of Nigeria Limited, Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika. She has challenged all of us, everyone who has logged in on Zoom, everyone on YouTube, Have you accepted these challenges? Now, what will be a waste is if everything that you have learned today, everything that you have heard today is not practiced in your life. Like I said earlier, if you were to pay for all of this knowledge impacted to us today, it would cost you so much. Many of us cannot afford it. But here it is. FirstGem has given it to us free of charge. You can connect anywhere in the world. And I even think that this video would still be live on their YouTube channel, so you can go back anytime to get, relearn any of the things that our speakers have said earlier on. But the most important thing is, have you accepted all the challenges? Are you ready to learn? Always open your mind to learn everything that the world throws at you. Thank you very much once again to our chairman, Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika. And yes, we'll still progress. There's still so much more to come. Well, not really so much more. You've been here since morning. You've been with us. You've learned. You've gone to take bathroom breaks. You've come back. You've eaten. You've drank, all in the comfort of your space. But don't go yet. Chike is going to be here, boo of the booless, and he's going to entertain us, serenade us, kind of wrap the whole evening up. But before he does that, remember I wanted to call on Helen Ihore. Helen Ihore. Yes, Helen Ihore is the head other SME products First Bank of Nigeria Limited. And she's going to be speaking to us about what your bank is looking for. Earlier, we heard Mr. Yetuji talk about what investors are looking for. But now, Helen is going to be speaking with us on what the bank wants. A round of applause for Helen, please. How are you today, Madam Helen?
Good evening, our valued audience, and thank you for being with us in this 5th anniversary of FirstGem. So before the presentation slide comes up, I just want to, I was listening to a radio program on my way here, and it was as if the presenter knew what we're coming here to do. And he was talking about entrepreneurs. And he said that for you to grow your business, you need to be a part of a community as an entrepreneur. And the research has shown that it is actually only 1% of your community that will buy your products. And that people do not buy your products or your services, but they buy you. That means you need to build integrity, you need to build trust as an entrepreneur, as an owner of a business. And I was interested. So you equally mentioned that a lot of entrepreneurs or businesses think that huge advertisement is what they need to be able to grow their business. You can find cheap alternative online advertisement, digital marketing advertisement, very cheap ones to be able to grow your business. Thank you. I just thought I should share that. I heard it today. So we're going to talk about what your bank wants, what your bank wants. So please go to the next slide. As a way of introduction and by definitions, I just want to assume, I will make some quick assumptions that a lot of our listeners are people that run their own businesses. And also, we have audience, amongst our audience, salaried employees, people that are in paid employment, or people who are looking to start their own business. I believe in the course of all that we have listened to, you have benefited. So by the way, I'll be talking mostly about the micro, small, and medium businesses. And by way of definition, we have World Bank definition of who an SME, micro, small, and medium enterprise is. World Bank actually defined them by the number of employees, total assets, and turnover. Also, the Central Bank of Nigeria, in their various circulars and intervention funds, try to define who a micro, a small, and medium enterprise is. Banks like First Bank also have their criteria in determining who an SME is. But however, the SMEDAN, which is Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria, is widely accepted. Their definition is widely accepted as the official definition for SMEs. So, and they said that if a business employs less than 10 people and also have Total assets excluding land and building valued less than 10 million. That business is categorized as a micro business. And also for small and medium. Please, the next slide. All right, that is important so we can know where our business fall into. And there are some important numbers we need to look at for SMEs. For example, in Nigeria, industry sources have it that about 41.6 million MSMEs exist in Nigeria as of today. Out of these 41.6, 99.8% are micro businesses. And out of these micro businesses, we have 41% that are women-owned businesses. Women-owned businesses. However, just about 2.2 micro businesses are registered businesses. Okay? And about 83% of workforce are actually employed by micro, small, and medium businesses. And of course, MSMEs contribute 49.8% to the GDP, according to industry sources. Please, the next slide, please. All right, so we'll be talking about the challenges. What are the SMEs saying? What are businesses saying? People that run their businesses, what are the challenges? Of course, we know that access to finance is one of the challenges, and inconsistent government policies, lack of infrastructure, are also part of the business challenges. All right, lack of business structure is also a problem for businesses, and multiple taxation system in the country also pose a challenge to our businesses. So having seen these challenges, how do we come in, and what do we expect from our customers? How do we come in to help, to empower, to support our businesses, to provide access to finance, to be able to grow your business? Our chairman, in his our MD CEO, in his opening remark, mentioned that the bank, First Bank, we have disbursed over 50 billion facilities to women, women as a whole, women businesses, individuals, women in paid employment. Let's go to the next slide. All right, so having seen what the challenges are, having categorized us, what do we expect from our valued customers? How do we support our customers? We expect as a bank that our customers understand their business. That cannot be overemphasized. We heard our chairman say that. We expect that our customers know their competitors. We also expect that you understand your market environment. We expect that you constantly build capacity by learning. Okay? So, in order to qualify for a loan as a business, there are some criteria we have summarized here. What we need from you as a customer, as a business, or even as an individual who want to obtain loan from the bank. Number one, if you are a business, you need to have a business name registration, either as a sole proprietor, a private company, or a limited liability company. Okay, you need to have proper financial record, bookkeeping, have your accounting records, and most importantly, have your bank account. Okay, you need to show adequate sales turnover. How do we know what your sales turnover is? It's from your bank account statement. You have a strong cash flow from your business. When we listened to Jimmy from Augusto, he mentioned that, I think it was the presentation about what investors want. She mentioned that actually one of the challenges of equity financing is the pressure it puts on your cash flow. So you need to know what your cash flow is. You need to have a strong cash flow before you can access finance. Also, you need to register, you need to have your TIN, tax identification number, and properly file your annual returns. And of course, you need to have your BVN for the prime mover and your directors, if any. Okay? And we expect you, as a customer, to adopt our e-channel or e-payment platforms. I heard today from Jimmy from Augusta & Co. that e-payment is even becoming bigger than the GDP. So you can see we want you to have our e-channels, our POS, merchant codes. All this will help you in your sales collections, so we can see what your business is doing at a glance. Of course, your KYC document is important, your valid IDs, your address verification, your clean credit report. You need to have clean credit report with the credit bureaus, at least 2 credit bureau and the CBN CRMS. We also expect that your business proceeds or your salary, if you're in paid employment, is domiciled with the bank. So these are some, in summary, what we expect from our customers. Okay, please, the next slide. All right. In addition to what we have said, if you are in paid employment, we want you to open your salary account from the bank. When you're with the bank, when your salary account is open with us, you actually stand a chance to enjoy our loans. We have our digital loan, salary advance loan called First Advance. We have our personal loan against salary. We have mortgages that you can enjoy as a salaried person. So, and this salary account comes with 0 AMC and also free first debit card for you. As an individual, you should also have clean credit report. So other tips for your business of course, they've been mentioned. Of course, you need to have your business plan. If you're coming into a business, and we expect you to practice profit retention, imbibe a savings culture. Do not consume everything you earn from your business. That is why the FirstGem account is there. Our target savings will help you to save from your business. So that way you're building capacity to expand your business. Of course, we expect you to have succession planning so that your business can continue. We are interested in the continuity of your business as a customer. Now you should, moving with the trends, of course you should look at digitizing your operations. And we want you to be part of a community. Remember in my opening I said I had a presentation about being part of a community. And it's actually 1% of your community that buy into your product and services. So if you're part of our SME Connect, it's a community where we as SMEs, we have our SMEs enjoy our capacity building trainings, our workshops, our resources. You know, we have resources to help grow your business. So you see regular webinars, education for SMEs. So, and if you go to the next slide, we have how we can connect and be part of SME Connect. There's a website there that you can log on to www.smeConnect@firstbanknigeria.com. So you can be a member of our SME Connect community and you can sign up free. We do not charge for that. So there are common mistakes that businesses make. What are those common mistakes? On the next slide, we see the common mistakes that businesses make. That you will say, I don't need a business name. I can run my business with my personal account. If you're saying that as a business owner, the implication is that the growth of your business will be limited because major business loans are not granted on individual accounts. Remember that as an SMB, small, medium business, you are categorized as micro, small, and medium. And we would like to see you grow from a micro business owner to a small business owner to a medium business owner. So when you get to that level, we cannot give any loan on a personal account. Also, some have said, I prefer to open a savings account because I don't want to pay AMC charges. I don't want bank charges, so I'd rather run my business with a savings account. Currently, we have a CBN regulation prohibiting businesses from operating a savings account. So that is a disadvantage for you now. But the good news is we have our first SME account that is available. And the behavior is that you don't get to pay AMC if you meet the conditions to that account. So you can open a first SME account and you can get to enjoy 0 AMC. So it's like you're running a savings account for your business as long as the conditions are met. Okay? Some other mistakes is I can quickly turn around my sales proceeds before paying my bank loans. So you've taken a loan from the bank and you don't want to pay, you want to divert, you want to quickly attend to other things before you can come and settle your obligations. The implication is that it can lead to a non-performing loan and a bad credit report or history for you. And when that happens, you will not be able to take more loans for your business, either from First Bank or any other bank. Your BVN may also be blacklisted, so it doesn't pay you. So it's good for you to build integrity and trust. You must meet your obligations as at when due. So there are some other business owners that would say, I don't need bookkeeping records or accounting software. I have all the information in my head because I cannot afford the cost. We heard about input costs today. The cost of your business is not just the cost of the product that you sell, but the entire cost of your operations. So once you acquire that, they all come in as part of your cost, which you will eventually translate to your own customers. Having a good bookkeeping record or accounting software will help. The implication is if you don't have it, to track your sales and your expenses or your revenue will be difficult, and you will not be able to make future projections. Finally, some other people say, I don't care about my employee. After all, so many people are looking for jobs. If you say that, you stand the risk of losing good employees, and you will have what is called high turnover rate, which means your staff will be leaving and you would have lost good hands. The opportunity to grow your business will be limited. And the last slides I have is just to show us our products, what we offer you, how we want to partner with you. We have our loan products for you as SMBs. These loan products, we have what we call our temporary overdraft that every small, micro, medium businesses can take to be able to grow your business. So if we see the turnover on your account over 6 months, we can give you a temporary overdraft, and also your cash flow is important to take that. Or is it our First Trader solution? Our data shows that more women actually take our First Trader solution. It is in our markets, we finance markets. We finance women in the market. We've helped them build capacity, expand their businesses through our First Trader solution. The First Edu loan is also an area that women are also very strong. A lot of women own schools, but we're not limiting it to only women. Anyway, all our customers who own school, they take our First Edu loan and they are able to meet their expenses towards their school. We also have, I mentioned earlier, our products for individuals, which is our First Advance. Once you have a salary account with us, open our salary account, you can take our First Advance, or you can take a personal loan against salary, which has a longer tenor to allow you meet obligations that require longer tenor loans. For example, you can use it to fund your children's school fees. You can use it to buy property if you want. You can use it to pay your house rent. That is our first our personal loan against salary. What about our agent, digital agent credit facility? These are for first money agents. First money agents, if you're a first money agent, we give you a facility up to 1 million naira to be able to support your operations as an agent. Operational vehicle is there, our first SME current account is there. So as a customer, valued customer, we're interested in growing your business. We want to demystify the myth that the bank it is difficult to get a loan from the bank. Once you know what documents to provide, once you have a good credit history, once you have your record straight, your KYC is in place, know your customer documents, the bank will finance your business. Because if you are a customer, if you're growing, we are also growing as a bank. We've been there for 127 years just because of you, our customers. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Madam Helen. Do we have any questions? Questions? All right. So we have one here. Is it possible to make my personal First Bank account my business account without having to open a different account for my business?
Okay, it's possible, but we need you to provide certain documents for a business, because opening a business, having an individual account, a personal account, the requirement is different from a business account. So once you provide that, we should be able to open a business account for you. The customer.
So basically, you can't use your personal account, you can't convert your personal account to a business account.
To be able to convert, you need to provide the documentations for your business, and then we can move what we call the scheme code, we can change it.
We can change it. All right, thank you very much. Kafayat Olowo wants to know, may I know when we'll have FirstGem account activated in Ilorin, please?
You can visit any of our branches and talk to the relationship team. You can ask for the business manager in that branch, and then they will advise you on what to do.
Okay, dear Kafayat, all you have to do is to visit any First Bank branch near you in Ilorin, and you will get all the information that you need. Thank you very, very, very much, Madam Helen Ihore.
Thank you.
A round of applause for her, please. Thank you so, so much. It's been a wonderful, interesting, insightful, beautiful day for me. I got to learn too much that I'm going to apply to my life. And to all the people that have been telling me, Bisola, I don't want to talk to your manager. I want to talk to you. My negotiation game has changed. You will beg me for my manager. Thank you so much, First Bank. Thank you so much, FirstGem. For everyone who logged in virtually, thank you so much. Now we're going to be closing this lovely conference. But I'm not going to be doing the closing remark. I will be calling on the DMD First Bank of Nigeria Limited, Mr. Gbenga Shobo, to give us the closing remark. A round of applause for him, please. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a very long day. Thank you very much for staying with us throughout the day. We're very grateful for your participation. I'm going to keep it very short. I'm sure that you all like to do something else. My job is simple, just a little summary of how the day has gone, and one or two thank yous here. We started the day off with Jimmy of Augusto & Co. and Valdell talking about the global and local economies. And we learned some business strategies that you need in a poor economy. Our economy is recovering slowly, so the strategies in that kind of economy differs. And I think Jimmy especially pointed out one or two things around that. Then Fumio Yetunji, who's one of us, an ex-First banker, she spoke of what investors would want. And I know that a lot of female entrepreneurs would like investments in their business. Something she said that was very pungent for me was that money is looking for opportunity. So how are you structuring your business for the money to come and meet you? So I think that's very important. And she gave quite a lot of examples around that. Investors are looking for businesses to take care of advantages of post-COVID era. How are you positioning your business for that? Are you going online? That's something that's really come up quite a lot at the post-COVID era. The FirstGem event is always structured in order to educate women entrepreneurs. So, and that was a theme that went on throughout the day. One area which we wanted to really focus on this year was the art of negotiation, which was taken up by the Kandrav Mehta. The chairman said that women are disadvantaged in the system in order to meet their goals. And negotiation was an area which we felt was very, very important. And I think he did a very great job. Then we did the business pitch, which was won by EduCyclers. Congratulations to the winner, EduCyclers. And we'd like to also thank our judges, Chizo, Adesua, and Obi. Thank you very much. What we would like to do, we've done this for 5 years. So next year, we're also thinking of moving to our other African subsidiaries. First Bank is in Congo, DRC. We're in Ghana. We're in the Gambia. We're in Senegal. We're in Sierra Leone. It would be nice for us to also start impacting on the women in the other African countries which we are in. We also have a subsidiary in the UK, but I think that will be the last place we'll be going to. So, Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. I'd like to thank the chairman of the holding company, Obautudeko, who we always refer to, because he's the driving force behind the group. We'd like to thank the chairman of the board, Mrs. Ibukwa Woshika, who has been here all day, MD of the bank, Shola Adeduton, the judges, that's Chizo Adeswa Ubi, FBN holding directors who are here earlier. Thank you very, very much. The M&S marketing and corporate communication team who put this together, working with the product and the segment teams. Thank you very much. Without you guys, this wouldn't have happened. And finally, the cameraman, the backroom crew over there. Thank you very much. And of course, Bisola, our hostess, who has been very busy and who has done a very great job in packaging this together and making sure everything flowed throughout the day. So thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you next year. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gbenga Shubo, DMD First Bank of Nigeria Limited. And yes, we have come to the end of the FirstGem Annual Conference 4.0. To everybody who registered early and got the Zoom links and got to send in questions and got answers, thank you so much. You've been with us since 10 a.m. till now, and it's time for some entertainment. But don't forget that if you're not yet part of the FirstGem community, all you have to do is to visit the FirstGem portal and you can sign up. And you can also follow us on Instagram. Go to Instagram and search First Bank Nigeria. Click on it, click on the link tree, the link in their bio. There's so many other products that you can enjoy from the First Bank group. So please do that by all means. To everyone who joined via YouTube, thank you so much. And for those people who still have questions or your questions didn't get answered, please make sure that you go to the FirstGem portal and send your questions on there, because all of our speakers that were present here today, virtually and in person, will be answering all of those questions that you have asked. So once again, I want to say a very big thank you to First Bank and to FirstGem Annual Conference 4.0. Thank you for having me on this journey with you. Thank you for all the knowledge that you've imparted to me and thousands of other women around the world. Thank you so much. We have accepted all the challenges that have been passed to us by our chairman, and I hope that we can apply everything that we have learned today in our everyday life and in our business life. Thank you so, so much. My name is Bisola Ayola. I had a wonderful day with you today, and now I'll be handing over to the boo of the boo-less.
Yes, sir.
The wonderful Chike. A round of applause for him, please.
Say make I know, make I know, make I know, make I know. Make I know. Calling me the sugar right there for your tea. Calling me the honey right there for your bill. Baby, see me, I don't believe, oh. Showing me around like I lost my way. Telling all your friends and I me be your bail. Baby, see me, I don't believe, oh. I make you tell me now. Make you tell me now. Make you tell me now. I said, Bisola, make you tell me now. I wanna know now. I be you like the bobo. Hey, make I know now. If you know, love me, no, nah. If you don't need me, no, nah. Set me, I take this love, oh, baby, you all make you not play me, nah. No go they talk, say you love me, oh. Don't play me, oh. Okay. Anybody will won't fight you on. Hey, nah. Anybody will won't fight you. Say me then come, they already know. I'll be right beside you, like the wall of Jericho. And they don't know what's going on. When I get so, my baby boo. I'll be a soldier for you. I'm getting better in Kung Fu. And you should know that I got you. And you don't need to got me too. And I'll be right beside you in anything that you do. If you ever need saving, I will be running to you. Running to you. Hey, I'll be running to you, running to you. Anywhere that you go to, running to you. Hey, I'll be running to you, running to you. Yeah, anywhere that you go to, I'll go round unto you. Nakupenda, iso maga, yeah. Na. Yeah, you watch me like TV. You're looking at me 3 times in a row. And if you want to say hello, oh yeah, now make you talk hello. I think you look so pretty, and you don't look like spaghetti, like you are needing some love. I never ever seen that look before. And if you don't say hello, I will say yeah, yeah. Yeah, nakupenda, yeah. Oh my baby, so my God, are you coming with me? Are you coming with me? Yeah. Nakupenda, oh my baby, so my God, yeah. Are you going with me? I make her ask you, how will you know? Say now me be the one for you. Say now you be the one for me. If you don't say hello, or you talk hello. I make her ask you, aye. Opposite connection. Imana chukwa kazigomo. Onyelu me. What am I looking for now? Say my God, it don't bless me, yo. He giving me, giving you me. Opposite fella just yes, opposite me just me. My baby, you know say you got love for me, yeah. I do go. My baby. When I call your name, for me. Yeah. I go be your homie, you gon' be my Julie. And you gon' be my Julie, say I gon' be your, and you gon' be my. Oh yeah, now give me a love and no go on now way. Carry me go and not feel use you play. Oh, cause someone I can go away. Follow you, me and you, baby. Say now me and you, na. Oh. Yeah, opposite kidney, yeah. Opposite kidney, yeah. Opposite kidney, yeah. You got love for me. My nana. When I call your name, shakara for me. I'm gonna be your homie, you gon' be my Julie, and you gon' be my Julie, Yeah, I'm gonna be your homie, you gon' be my Julie, and you gon' be my Julie, yeah. I'm gonna be your homie, you gon' be my Julie, and you gon' be my Julie, yeah. And you gon' be, and you dance, make you dance, and I won't make you dance, and I won't make you dance, she be happy, you not gonna dance, I be you not gonna dance for me. I say I won't make you dance, and I did not catch you the dance, I say I won't make you dance, and I won't make you dance, I am making sure you're dancing, move, and I won't make you dance, and I won't make you dance, yo. Come on, I say baby, now you find pass, and I won't make you dance later on. Oh yeah, I do go. All right, have an amazing day. true.